What's up, everybody? My name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today is Friday, February 25th, and today we're going to be talking about why Bitcoin is pumping right now. Yesterday, we saw a Bitcoin pump of around 11%, a staggering price, and right now it's up 4%. I mean, this is crazy, and I'm going to share with you today why possibly this Bitcoin is pumping, why the market is pumping. And we're also going to be talking about Ukraine, Russia, sanctions, the US, everything all in a nutshell. So guys, before we begin, before we share this important news, be sure to smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel, join our Patreon page, and don't forget to avoid any of those scammers down in the comments below. I'm never going to reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email, so please be careful and invest safely. So guys, what is going on with Bitcoin? Well, as you can see here, we experienced a low of around 34,000, and just within that past 24 hours, we went all the way up to $38,930. That is crazy, and we are still suspending above that in a weekly close, hopefully above that as well. Now, I want to share with you some articles that I think are really great, but before we begin, I want to share with you this other article that was from Canada. Obviously, Canada, Justin Trudeau has decided to unfreeze the bank accounts to the Freedom Convoy protesters. Now, the reason this is important is because, as we know, when Canada and Justin Trudeau were freezing accounts and not allowing people to gain access to that money, that was a sign of how centralized governments can freeze your money and not allow you to have control over your own funds. Now, this does take the rights away from people's right to their money. And so this is why Bitcoin definitely falls into play. But I'm just glad to see that Canada at least is trying to do something about it. But honestly, in overall aspect, this is just a sign that you need to switch over to Bitcoin, because you need to have control and custody over your funds. And Bitcoin is the route, and cryptocurrency is the route. Now, with that said, let's move on to the real news that's going on in the world. Now, as you know, there has been over 400,000 in crypto, specifically Bitcoin, that's been sent over to the Ukrainian army. Now, a lot of this has been sparked to the fact that a lot of the governments, a lot of the banks, a lot of the institutional money has been frozen in many different areas in both Ukraine and Russia, but specifically Ukraine. And that's due to the panic of a possible war. And so as people are trying to withdraw their money, some accounts have been frozen. The limit of cash withdrawals has been limited. So people are now going to Bitcoin, but they're also being supported through Bitcoin. And if you've seen my video yesterday, which I'll put on the upper right hand side, you'll know why we want to support these people. And I said to you guys, if you want to support people in Ukraine, families, friends that you have over there, Bitcoin is definitely the route to go, because it's much faster and it's instantaneous, and it's a global currency and asset that you can trade with no problem at all. But other things that have happened was recently, one of the Ukrainian NGOs was trying to raise money to funding the military on Patreon. But unfortunately, Patreon decided to suspend that account, and it did not allow people to donate to their cause. So after that, this happened. Justin, Ukrainian NGO, received 3 million worth of Bitcoin from a single donor. This is why it's really important, because Patreon is centralized as well, but because Bitcoin is based on a proof of work, peer-to-peer custody, this allows people to just send money without having to deal with a middleman or a centralized system. You can just send it to somebody, and now they have that support, especially during the unforeseen times that we're seeing, which is Russia is invading Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, as we speak right now. So right now there's a little bit of a ceasefire, at least that's what they're trying to say in the news, but this is at least the right support, and this is going to help them out a lot more. Now also, 4 million in Bitcoin had been donated to the National Guard of Ukraine as well. Again, another positive story, how Bitcoin is being used for good to help people in dire need. And other than that, same bank from been freed from FTX, the CEO, decided to give $25 to each Ukrainian that owns an FTX account. He didn't have to do that, but he supports the right for people to have money and to support the cause of people who need that support, who don't deserve to be invaded by a dictatorship country like Russia. Now, that's amazing, but also keep in mind, if you're donating at all, if you decide to donate, be very careful, because this person, Elio Trades, had gotten this request. Now, someone wrote, I need 30 people willing to donate at least 0.3 ETH each. Several individuals and organizations have reached out to me from Ukraine as they're in dire straits. Now, you can read this whole thing if you want, but basically this is a scam. This is an imposter. This person actually has the audacity to steal money from people in order to falsely claim that they're helping out people in Ukraine and organizations in Ukraine. And to be very honest, I told you guys this in the video yesterday, and these are just scams. And you know, it doesn't just happen to this. It happens in the US as well. When we have hurricane season and cities get destroyed, there are people who scam others in terms of donations. And so, you know, keep that in mind. This is never a safe bet. So always be careful if you're sending funds or Bitcoin to the right people. Don't give them any personal information. Don't let them get any of your passwords or personal wallets. Be always suspicious whenever somebody's asking you for money or requesting you for money, right? So let's go ahead and move on from there. Now, something has happened obviously within Ukraine, which is that the central bank has suspended cash transfers, bolstering the use case for crypto. Now, this was reported by CNBC. This is another reason why possibly Bitcoin could be doing well right now, because people are switching their funds, taking that cash out, or maybe transferring it over to cryptocurrency. We're not just talking about Bitcoin. This could be Solana, Binance, it could be Ethereum, or even Cardano, say for instance. Again, having these funds in a global network such as the blockchain, such as these different blockchains, is very helpful. So it's a great way to store your value in case you need to leave a country. And if you leave a country, you can get those, you can have access to those funds if you were to connect to the internet and log in back to those on those apps or exchanges. So moving on. Now in Russia, something has been going on. Sberbank, the largest bank in Russia, has limited cash withdrawals for its customers to $20. And this is mainly because Russia's stock market had taken a little bit of a tumble, and that was due to the sanctions that the US and many other partners had put against Russia. And so now possibly Russian citizens are trying to figure out how to keep their wealth and store it in a place where it's not centralized, where somebody isn't in control of it, such as a bank. So possibly they could be switching that over, putting those funds into Bitcoin or any other crypto assets out there. Now in other news, Biden and Europe are waiting on key SWIFT sanction against Russia. Now you might be wondering, and this was announced yesterday, what is that? What is SWIFT? Now European leaders, including the United Kingdom and also the US and also the EU, are favoring taking the additional step of blocking Russia from SWIFT, the Belgian headquartered consortium used by banks and other financial institutions that serve as a key communication line for commerce worldwide. The SWIFT system averaged 42 million messages daily last year to enable payments. The name is an acronym for the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. Now, the reason this is important because if we or the US decides to put these sanctions on SWIFT against Russia, there may be some repercussions, and that has to do with basically crude oil or energy. The reason I say crude oil or energy is because right now we've really, at least the EU, the United Kingdom, and also the United States have put sanctions around banks, around assets across the world. So now Russia is not able to get access to those funds because they are seized. So now Russia, that's why it took a slight dip in the market, is because it's been trying to figure out how do we funnel in money within our own economy if all of our assets around the world have been frozen and aren't allowed to have access to it. But the only thing is Russia still has access to their oil. And I think this is why the US has been hesitant to apply these SWIFT sanctions, because the US will get affected with their energy consumption, with their energy economy. So if they put sanctions around the SWIFT on Russia, you can expect gas prices in the US to possibly go up, and that could affect the citizens. That's another reason why a lot of this is a lot of chess pieces being put around, and just it's a mind game between the two countries. So I think this is really interesting, but I just want to give you an overall sense of that. But also in other news, what else is going on that may be helping Bitcoin go up in value? Well, there was a liquidation event. As you know, there are people who short or long Bitcoin, and a lot of bears were shorting and longing Bitcoin to the downside. And so within the past hour, 3.36 million people were wrecked, and 21.48 million within the past 4 hours were wrecked. In the past 12 hours, most importantly, 92 million. Now, if we look on this chart, you can see that there was a large liquidation just yesterday. So obviously that could have helped a lot with leverage traders either spike the price up or spike the price down. This is the problem when we don't have regulation around cryptocurrency, is that we can see huge volatility either to the downside or to the upside. But because of no regulation, the price can really just be volatile at this very point. And this war that's going on right now, this is what you're seeing right here. So we did see an influx in shorts and longs that were completely liquidated. So that's why I think that's what's going on. So if we look over to the chart, as you can see here, the sell volume during the time of the war was increasing, but all of a sudden there was this big pump in green, and now we were above the EMA ribbon, but struggling to stay above that. So we don't know what to expect in the next couple days, but at least be prepared, because right now I've been dollar cost averaging into these dips, into these dips, into these dips. So I've been buying on the lower lows on the shorter time frame in the 4 hourly chart. So be sure to have funds on the side if you want a dollar cost average. Again, never invest more than you're willing to lose. Again, none of this is financial advice, just financial opinion and entertainment. But be sure that there could be another dip along the road, because again, this is all a game, right? And we're still waiting for the Federal Reserve and also the White House administration to give us a little bit more clarity around inflation, around rate hikes, but also around the cryptocurrency regulation as well. So a lot of that's been kind of delayed because of this war that's been igniting this past week. So be prepared for anything, but I will tell you what, I am dollar cost averaging. So guys, I hope that this video has been very helpful. I know it's a lot of content to digest, but it should help you to decide where you should be positioned at. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. How do you feel, and how do you feel the Bitcoin price and the crypto price is going to be doing long down the road? Because right now, Bitcoin is rescuing Ukraine and is also helping the market as well. But for how long? So guys, leave those comments down below. Be sure to like that button, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to join our Patreon page, and I will see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching Cryptolution. Register on our Patreon page for our insider training tips and more. And don't forget to click on the affiliates link below to receive sign-up bonuses and access the Global Crypto Assets Exchange. Invest safely, and we'll see you on the next episode of Cryptolution.